All right, breaking news from East Africa. Kenya's polls are scheduled in 4 counties tomorrow. They were postponed during polling yesterday because of security concerns. They've now been postponed indefinitely.
Yeah, protests since yesterday's rerun of the presidential polls had been taking place, and Aldrin Sampear has been in the thick of it for the last few days. He joins us now live from Nairobi to give us an update on this remarkable and perhaps predictable outcome, Aldrin.
Well, certainly, Peter, I would say that it's extraordinary that you have so many disruptions, so many issues relating to these elections. From the beginning on, one could say that these elections have been jinxed. If you think about it, how many court cases have there been? A plethora of court cases. And yesterday, of course, the violent protests that have been taking place sporadically in different counties across the country. But of course, the IABC announcing yesterday, because of those counties that have been affected by the violent disruptions, that the elections they'll have another opportunity on Saturday. However, NASA as well, the opposition coalition, came out today, this afternoon, making the announcement saying that they call on the IABC to cancel tomorrow's scheduled elections in these 4 counties. And it almost seems as though that the IABC heeded that call. But the IABC's explanation for it is because of the violent disruptions that were taking place today as well, in Kisumu especially, where the violence, where even IABC officials have been attacked. The IABC chairperson, Chibukati, also speaking about some IABC officials whose houses have been attacked as well, and saying that the security of the IABC officials is of paramount. But then on the other hand, Peter, is the floods that took place yesterday as well in the northern parts of Kenya. Those elections had been postponed to Saturday, and Chibukati indicating today that those elections in those areas which were affected by the floods, that the elections will continue in those areas only tomorrow. But those that have been affected by the violence that have been going on, that elections will not be taking place, but a date has not been set as yet when the people in those areas, 1.7 million people, he indicated, have been affected by this postponement, when they will get an opportunity, if they do want that opportunity, to cast their ballot.
So are the elections in general at risk now? Because postponing without a date almost suggests that they don't know what to do next.
Well, certainly it seems as though that government is sitting in a quagmire. One can only imagine that the IABC must have been in a crisis meeting with government to try and find a solution to what they're currently facing in terms of the security detail, the security contingent, and this violence that has been coming from what are NASA supporters saying that they do not want the polls to take place. What happens now going forward? And then on the other hand, of course, you have this court application that has been brought by an activist who has gone to the Supreme Court saying that the elections must be nullified. But on top of that, he also wants the court to interdict Chibukati from making a pronouncement on who has won these elections. If you look at the provisional results that are in, it's quite clear that Uhuru Kenyatta is the front runner by huge margins. And I remember the last time when we spoke about Paul Kagame, I said that there hasn't been a word to describe exactly how Paul Kagame won those elections by 98%. And that's the exact percentage, provisional results, excuse me, that Uhuru Kenyatta is enjoying at this moment. Just a few other polling stations that have voted, their numbers are still out, and Uhuru Kenyatta remains firmly in the lead. And some people might be wondering why someone like Raila Odinga, who said that he will not be contesting these elections, has some results that he secured about 1% of these votes. And that's because Raila Odinga, although he announced that he will not be contesting these elections, he didn't sign the Form 24A or Form 24A, indicating that he's withdrawing, and that's the reason why his name was still on the ballot paper, and some people didn't heed his call not to vote, and they certainly voted for him, Peter.
All right, Aldrin, thanks very much indeed for that update. So far, 98%, he's in the lead, but that's almost like saying 100% of all the people that voted for me last time have showed up, because last time 80% plus showed up for the election. Less than 40 have showed up this time. So it's just his supporters. It'll be interesting to see what they do.